rains may have subsided in Johannesburg, but the severe effects have been felt around the city, with emergency teams working around the clock. Flash floods caused extensive damage, including semi-collapsed roads, clogged drains and flooded bridges. Several of these are still closed off to traffic. 2 people also had to be rescued while trying to cross the Jukskei River. Officials remain on high alert with more heavy rains predicted for Gauteng. Let's now get an update on some of the destruction that we've seen. Our Newzroom Afrika reporter, Ziniko Mhlaba, is now joining us from Jukskei Park. A very good morning to you once again, Ziniko. Tell us about what some of the residents are telling you.
Good morning once again, Aldrin. Actually, I'm joined now by the ward councillor here at the Jukskei Park, just to get a sense of what actually transpired yesterday, but also the extent of this damage from the councillor's perspective in terms of the possible cost, but also a context in terms of, is this tragedy only taking place this year, or is it a continuous thing or something that happens annually? So I'm joined now by Mr. Mark Van der Merwe, who's the ward councillor here. Without wasting any more time, say you were here last night, just in the aftermath of the storm. But you know, what makes this bridge vulnerable to this overflow? But also looking at the damage now, what are we looking at?
So this particular area, it's the second time it's happened in 2 years. The last time was around about March 23, when we had a similar situation. With the trees and the big parks on the east side of the river, what you find is trees fall over, branches fall over, the embankments here are covered in reeds, and those reeds wash down the river and clog up the entrance to the bridge. Yeah. And when that happens, flooding starts occurring because the water backs up and backs up and backs up. And if you look at this area, the water, when I arrived here last night at about 6:45, the water was flowing 2 to 3 meters over the bridge. And when it flows over the bridge, you get these big logs. You see the concrete ballards in the background that have washed away and into the middle of those were all on the side. The water has pushed those into the middle of the road, and it's gone off the other side, as you would have seen already from your footage. It's already eaten away on the other side. That was already partially like that. This happened in March 23. There was an emergency technical analysis of this bridge done by Johannesburg road agencies, where they said 1.5 million rand, 1.46 million, I think is the figure, that needed to be done emergency repairs. 2 years later, those emergency repairs have started not taking place, and this is the result. It is now even worse. So it's got a situation now where it is not critical. They have to do something about it.
I mean, do you think there's sufficient public awareness about the dangers of crossing the road, especially when it comes to floods? There was a gentleman, I'm sure you are aware of, who was trapped in his bakkie just last night. Do you think enough is being done? Because even this morning, we still see people walking, even though the bridge is closed off, and there were some motorists who wanted to take a chance as well. Yeah. Do you think enough has been done on the ground?
So, awareness, when you get a driver's license, hopefully you should be aware and made aware of these things, but clearly not, because people will continue. The person that tried to cross the bridge last night, I wouldn't say that he was in a sober condition. So he ended up going across the bridge, his back of his car swept out, and if it wasn't for the concrete barrier behind us that saved him, he would have gone over the edge. Yeah. Fortunately, we had EMS services in, and we had the sea rescue guys, the NSRI that are based up in Johannesburg, came out to rescue him out of his vehicle. And this is because people are just taking a chance in crossing over flooded. It happens the whole time. We hear about cars being washed away in floods the whole time. People need to stay away. If you cannot see the road, do not cross. Do not try and attempt to cross, because you don't know what's happened underneath it. Yeah.
Talk to us about the damage now. We spoke about the money that was spent to repair the 2023 phase of this particular damage. Now, what are we looking at? Looking at the extent of what we're seeing here on the ground.
I'm not an engineer, but if you start looking at this area, the embankment is now washed away. The entire sidewalk is washed away. Previously, there were parts of the sidewalk that people could use. Now, there's nothing. Yeah. So the entire sidewalk, it's now, the entire embankment drops off 5 meters down on the other side. I'm not an engineer, but I'm sure Johannesburg road agencies will be here at 8 o'clock, or shortly now, and they're going to be sending in technical teams to evaluate what they're building.
Thank you very much, Councillor, for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Aldrin, that's the councillor of this particular area. Councillor Van der Merwe just give us a context and the background of the crisis this bridge has actually experienced over the past 2 years, saying that a very similar incident, but at a minor level, took place here in 2023. But also, as he said, that we are expecting Johannesburg Road Agency to make their way here to assess, but also give us some context and the extent of this damage. So that's it for now. We'll continue engaging with other stakeholders throughout this morning.
Thank you so much, Ziniko Mhlaba, there joining us from Fourway.